Hey guys, so today I'm filming my Throwback Thursday of my February favorites from 2014. If you've never seen this video from me before, I'll have my playlist linked down below, and basically I will be revisiting all of the items I featured in a favorites video 2 years back, letting you know whether they are still favorites or I have found something that I like better. My inspiration for this series was Kristen Game. I will have her channel and her playlist linked down below. Make sure you go check her out. Kristen is one of my absolute favorite people to watch on YouTube. I will also have linked down below the original favorites video, and I will list and link all the items that I'm mentioning. So my first favorite was around a look that I created. The star of the tutorial was MAC Eyeshadow in Cranberry. I'll have that tutorial linked up here in case you want to check it out. I really still love that look. Cranberry is such an amazing shade. I feel like this shadow has fantastic pigmentation, and I absolutely love the way that this looks on me. I think that this shadow would look great on a ton of people, so highly recommend MAC Eyeshadow in Cranberry. It is definitely still a favorite. The blush I was wearing was this center shade here, which is MAC Cantaloupe. This is a pro color that you can buy in pro stores, or you can buy it online at maccosmetics.com. So I absolutely love this blush. It is a bit more understated. It is a neutral peach. It is one of my go-tos in the fall time. This is absolutely still a favorite of mine. It is a satin finish, but it looks like a matte on the skin. It is very pigmented. MAC blushes are my absolute favorite, and this one is no exception. And the lip product I was wearing in that look would be the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Creme Brulee, which is a wonderful light peachy nude. I am in love with this lip gloss. I love this shade and the formula. The NYX Butter Glosses are my #1 holy grail lip gloss. I have so many shades, and I definitely recommend this shade and the whole line. Depending on the shade that you get and the natural pigmentation of your lips, you can get light, medium opacity. They don't last for hours and hours because they are not sticky whatsoever. So really, you just have to decide what you prefer. Do you want a more comfortable feel, or do you want them to last longer? I don't have any problem reapplying these. I use them as a lipstick topper and also on their own, so definitely still a favorite. Next, I had a ton of face products favorites. The first one was the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge, and I absolutely love this thing. I have purchased 2 of these, so this is my second one. It does last me about a year. This one has got some rips in it. I definitely need to get a new one, and I would recommend getting the 2-pack from Ulta and using your $3.50 off $10 coupon, because what that ends up being is buy one get one for 50 cents. So highly recommend you guys do that. It is a great way to save some money, and I love using this for applying my foundation. Some foundations I like applying with a brush, but most of them I really just preferred this sponge, and I like this sponge more than the Beauty Blender because of the shape. I use the flat side to apply my foundation, and I use the pointed side to apply and blend out concealer under the eye, and it works so well for me. This is absolutely still a favorite. One of my holy grail must-have brushes. You all definitely need to get this. My next favorite was the MAC ProLongwear Concealer in the shade NC15. I have also completely used up one, and this is my second tube of this. This tends to last me for about a year because I only use this on blemishes currently. I used to use it under my eyes. It does a fantastic job under there, but because this is a more expensive concealer and I don't need max coverage under the eye, it's why I tend to just use it on my blemishes. I think that this is one of the best concealers out there. It comes in so many shades. My shade is NC15. It is the perfect shade match for my skin tone, which is really hard to find. But this concealer is my personal holy grail because it does work on under eyes and blemishes. It has fantastic coverage. Also, this works for me, you know, in the heat of summer when my skin is at its oiliest, and also in the dead of winter when my skin is at its most dry. This works for me, which is amazing. This is one of the best concealers I've ever tried. I will continue to repurchase this. Highly recommend this if you guys haven't tried it yet. The next concealer I do not have with me, that was the NYX HD Concealer in the shade Porcelain, which is basically white. So if you are a fair skin beauty looking for a concealer you can actually highlight with, Porcelain will be the shade for you. I love the formula of that concealer. It is actually quite similar to MAC Pro Longwear. In my opinion, it has the same great coverage. It does have a little bit more of a satin finish, so if you are really dry skin, I don't know if you would love it. I'd still recommend that you try it. I think it is amazing, and it has a fantastic shade selection of a lot of different skin tone shades from light to dark, and it also has some corrector shades. I absolutely love that Porcelain shade. It is very, very brightening. The only bad thing about those NYX HD concealers is that there isn't that much product in the tube, so I tend to go through them pretty quickly, but I think next time Ulta has NYX for 40% off, I'll probably get a couple of them, but that is definitely still a favorite, one of the best concealers I've ever tried. My next favorite really surprised me. It's my under eye setting combo. I cannot believe I discovered this 2 years ago, and then I guess I just stopped using it, and then sometime last year is when I really fell in love with it all over again, and that would be using the Wet n Wild Mattifying Take on the Day powder and the MAC Shaping Powder in Emphasize. So I cannot use Emphasize on its own because it is so stark ivory. It is like an off-white shade. As you guys can see, I've used up a ton of this. I need to repress it. It is an amazing powder. It gives great coverage. It really helps to brighten, but if I use a ton of this and just this under my eye, it will be like super, super obvious. So if you're of a medium skin tone, I think you can get away with this because Jaclyn Hill used to use it all the time, but it will be super dramatic. But again, if you are fair and you are looking for a powder to set your under eyes with that will actually brighten, this will be a great one for you. I have had a very hard time finding any powder that actually brightens on me. This is like the only one I found, so definitely recommend this. It is a great product. I think it is about $16, but this pan has lasted me years, as you can see, so definitely love that. And then the Wet n Wild powder, you guys know how much I love this. I tend to go through this pretty quickly. The pan is really shallow, but this is a great dupe of the NARS Translucent Crystal Light Reflecting Setting Powder Pressed, but this one's even better. I know that basically 90% of people said that with their NARS powder, they had to scrape off the top layer to get to the good stuff. This is good from the jump. You do not have to do that, which I think is amazing because you waste so much more product with the NARS when you have to scrape it off, and it is so expensive. This is $5. Totally, totally, totally worth the money. Absolutely still favorites of mine. Would highly recommend you guys check them out. This is my favorite under eye setting combination. Next, I have some Holy Grail face powders. This is so awesome that so many products I discovered 2 years ago are still favorites now, because I know we can sometimes tend to forget about our old favorites because so many new things come into our lives, but I'm glad I've held on to some of these old favorites. So first off is the NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat Powder Foundation. In my favorites video 2 years ago was the shade Nude because I was using it with the Estee Lauder foundation that was a little too light. But now I use the shade Ivory, which is one shade down from this. That one matches my skin tone perfectly. This is a powder that I use if my foundation is a bit too light, or I use this in the summertime, this particular shade, but I love the NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat powder foundations. I use it as a setting powder. Sometimes I use a big fluffy Real Techniques powder brush, or sometimes I use the e.l.f. powder brush if I really want to pack on some coverage. This gives great coverage, and it does have a satin finish, so you don't look too dry and cakey. This does help keep me matte. It's a great color for me, so definitely the NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat powders are still a favorite of mine. My next powder is the NYX Mineral Set It Don't Fret It in the shade Light Medium. This only comes in 2 shades. This one is a bit too dark for me, but I can definitely make it work. I actually like pairing this with my Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation, which is a bit too light. This is my absolute favorite loose powder. The formula of this is so finely milled. It just glides over lines and pores so well. This does a great job of setting my face without feeling like I'm packing on too much powder. I wish it was a little bit lighter of a shade, but I can definitely still make it work. This powder is absolutely still a favorite of mine. My next favorite was a bronzer. This is the Revlon PhotoReady Bronzer in Bronzed and Chic, which was discontinued. I'm still bitter about that because it's not like Revlon has any better bronzers to offer in their line, so why would they get rid of this? Revlon used to be one of my favorite brands ever, and I just don't love them anymore. They've totally fallen off the map for me. There are some products from Revlon that are holy grail to me, but as far as their new stuff, I'm not intrigued by it. But This bronzer is fantastic. As you can see, I have hit some pretty major pan. I featured this product in the products I've hit pan on video, which I'll link up here in case you want to see more things I've hit pan on, but I absolutely love this bronzer. It is an all matte bronzer with 4 different tones to it, and I like to use these 2 shades here for bronzing, these 2 for contouring, just because that's how I can make these shades work for my skin tone. If you guys can find this for a reasonable price on eBay or Amazon, I highly recommend it. It is one of my holy grail bronzers. My Benefit Hoola and the Revlon Bronze and Chic are my top 2 bronzers. I would totally be fine getting rid of all the bronzers in my collection if I could have these. It has a fantastic formulation. It is very pigmented, very, very blendable. It isn't chalky. It isn't crumbly. It's a fantastic, fantastic formula. I am so lucky that my friend Jean sent me a backup. That way I will have bronzer to last me for a very long time, but really, really love this if you guys are able to get your hands on it. And if you already have it, please pull it back out of your collection and use it. This is so amazing, and bring it back, Revlon. Like, come on. Next, I have my blushes from theBalm, which were some of my very first blush loves that are absolutely still a favorite. These things will withstand the test of time as far as my heart goes. I will always, always love these, and I do need to use them more. I definitely do use these 2 shades a lot in the springtime, and I will use this one in the summer. So let me just show you what shades I'm talking about. The first one is theBalm's Frat Boy, which is one of my absolute holy grail blushes. This is a matte pinky peach shade, super duper pigmented. All of the Balm blushes, I have to use my Sigma F15 Duo Fire blush brush just to make sure I don't get too blush crazy because they are so pigmented. The next shade is Down Boy, and of course theBalm just has the most amazing packaging, and this is a light matte neutral tone pink. When you pair it with something warm, it looks cool, and when you pair it with something cool, it looks warm. So Frat Boy and Down Boy are definitely 2 blushes that I reach for a ton in the springtime, so I'm going to be getting some love out of those soon. And then the other shade I have is Hot Mama, which is very similar to NARS Orgasm. It's just a little bit less pink than Orgasm is. It's more on the corally peachy side, and it has a really strong metallic sheen to it. Again, very, very pigmented blush. So gorgeous. Definitely a go-to in the summertime. My next favorite was a palette. This is theBalm Meet Matte Nude. And let me tell you guys something so exciting. theBalm is coming out with a new version of this palette. It is called theBalm Meet Matrimony, which is such a cute name. And those colors, amazing. Andrea Mattiliano posted a picture on her Instagram. Oh my gosh, they're so beautiful. I'm absolutely buying that. You guys know I am not a palette person, but this is like my holy grail palette. It is my absolute favorite pre-made palette. The quality and the colors are amazing, so I am for sure getting that palette. Hopefully it will be on HauteLook so I can get it at a discounted price, but I will own that. Trust and believe. So this is what the Meet Matte Nude palette looks like. You have 9 shadows that are all a really great large size, and I do like the variety of colors in here. You mostly have a lot of crease colors, outer corner colors. My go-to look is using this matte white called Matte Malloy on my lid and my brow bone, Matte Singh as a transition color, and Matte Rosen as a crease color. The formulation of these shadows is some of the best matte shadows I've ever worked with. They are very pigmented, very creamy, but they aren't crumbly like the Lorac shadows, and they don't blend away. The texture and the blendability is so perfect. I find that in my experience with other eyeshadows, either they last really well, but they're a little bit tougher of a texture, they're pressed a little bit harder, or they're very pigmented but powdery and crumbly. They blend away to be muddy. This just has the perfect middle ground texture for shadows. Like, I'm so impressed with this formula. I love those 3 shades. It is a go-to look of mine. I don't use the other shades in this palette, but I'm okay with that because I love this look so much. If I could have Matte Singh in a single, I would totally buy it. It is an amazing transition shade for my skin tone. This is my favorite all matte warm tone eye that I definitely use a ton. So absolutely, this palette is still a favorite, and I cannot wait until I'm able to get my hands on theBalm Matrimony palette. is going to be mine. Then I had 4 lip product favorites. I only have one of them now. The first thing was the Lypsal Lip Balm that Holly Eats Lipstick has raved about for years and years and years. It is her favorite lip balm, I believe, and it was a really nice consistency. It was in between thick and thin, but leaning more on the thin side. I think I would buy it again, but I'm just so in love with my EOS lip balms that I'm not really venturing out and trying anything new. My next favorite was one of the L'Oreal Extraordinaire liquid lipsticks in the shade Rose Symphony. Now, I think this was in my favorites because I liked the color, but I definitely was not in love with the formula. I don't like products like that because it just is like a really thick jelly lip gloss. I don't know, I just don't love the texture of that, so definitely not still a favorite. I don't even know if L'Oreal still makes those lip products. Something very similar was the Maybelline Color Elixir. I had the shade Celestial Coral, which was a beautiful color, but again, it is a very similar formula to the L'Oreal where it is like a gel lip gloss, and I just didn't love the way that it felt on my lips, so definitely not favorites of mine. I much prefer the Buxom Full-On Lip Polishes and the NYX Butter Glosses if I'm gonna wear a gloss, so definitely those are not favorites anymore. And the last one I do still own, and this is the NYX Butter Lipstick in the shade Hunk. So I used this so much when I first got it. I was rocking it all winter long. This is a very comfortable formula lipstick. So I'm much more comfortable now wearing lipsticks than I was back then, because back then I was so used to wearing lip balm and things that my lips just couldn't handle anything that felt drying. But I love these because they are so moisturizing and comfortable, and I loved this color because it is a wearable version of MAC Rebel, which was all the rage back then, but it was a little intense for me, a little too expensive, and personally I don't love MAC lipsticks, but this is a very comfortable formula to wear. Now, if you are someone that has lip products bleed on you, I don't recommend these because these can travel a little bit, but with a lip liner I think you should be good to go. I have not used this at all this winter season because I have so many other lip products in my collection that I was wanting to give some love to. This is not a holy grail item. I do still love it, but I guess I don't love it that much since I didn't reach for it. The NYX Butter Lipstick formula is quite nice, only in the deeper shades. The lighter shades do not hardly have any pigmentation, but I do have 3 shades that are in the deeper color range, and they work really well. So this is a really nice lip product. I don't think I'd call it a favorite anymore. My last favorite was a nail polish. This is Essie's Naughty Nautical. It is a teal shade with some silver shimmer in it. And I don't really remember anything about this polish. I know the first time that I wore it, I didn't like it, but I think it's because I painted my nails when they were short. I never like to try a polish for the first time on short nails because I automatically am gonna like it less. I really hate when my nails are short. I do not like the way that my hands look. And apparently I did like it enough to use it again and mention it in this favorites, but I don't know if I've used it since then. This is a polish that I usually will wear in the fall time. I'm gonna try to remember to pull it out for this fall because I don't know if I like it that much or not. Essie is definitely a brand where I'm either going to love it or hate it. Their polish formula is not consistent, so I'm indifferent on this one because I just don't remember. So guys, that was my Throwback Thursday of my February favorites for 2014. I know this was a long video, but thank you for sticking with me. I would love to know your thoughts if you've tried out any of these products. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.